So Siddharth, thank
For
you so
sure.
much again for joining us, and you can take over this session. You can start. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Surya. Thanks a lot. Okay. Hi, folks. Hope everyone is doing fine. So before I, start talking about my own journey, I just wanted to know what standard are you guys currently studying in? If you can just, put in the chats just to get a overview of what kind of students are present in the meet. Just put your, which grade are you studying in? Right. Okay. 10th, 12th. Okay. Good. Okay. Everyone, just type in your grade or the standard you're studying in. Okay. 8th. Okay. Right. So we have a wide range students from 8th to 12th. Right. So what I'll be doing is I've prepared some kind of questions which the basic question which everyone gets in their mind when they are you know uh, planning to go for engineering, or let's say deciding for a branch, or deciding for a college. So I'll start with the very basic question, that is why I personally chose to pursue engineering. So the backstory is that when I was in my 10th grade, until 10th, I never really thought of engineering. I knew about this field, but I never really thought of engineering as a career, and maybe more serious about this. But in 10th grade, I was in ICSE board, right? So in computer, we had computer as a subject. So in that, we are supposed to build a project, right? So it kind of, weights around 30% of the total marks in your board exams. So the project was very interesting one, particularly at 10th grade. You do not really have much knowledge building stuff. So the project was about simulating a restaurant, right? So what we're supposed to do is the program would start running, and then it would show the menu for the restaurant, and then a person can order a few dishes which he likes, and then he can enter the quantity, then go back to the menu, and can again order the dishes. Mainly it was like that, and lastly we were supposed to show the bill. So this was the project. This was the basic, backbone of the project. So this is the first time when I encountered, a real life kind of program. You can very well see the applications of this in today's restaurants, right? So, and this was very interesting for me because until now, we had learned HTML, and we had learned the basics of Java. In ICSE, we had Java from ninth grade, right? But we haven't had any, a capstone project kind of thing. So this was one of the projects that particularly piqued my interest into learning about the language, diving deep into it, and in general about computer science. So that is when I really thought of maybe this is something I can pursue as a career. And of course I didn't have much knowledge about it, enough to decide for going for engineering, but this was something that I found really interesting. So I started talking to seniors, maybe relatives, who had gone through the 4 years of engineering, and maybe they have pursued computer science or maybe any other branch, but in particular engineering. So I was good in maths from the start itself. So this was one of the, I mean, it's the kind of a prereq when you want to go for engineering, because this would help you in 11th, 12th grade as well as in college. It doesn't stop there, right? So this was one of the factors as well when I was deciding why I want to go for engineering. So combined with being good at maths, and then really interested about building computer programs and stuff. So I thought this might be the field I really want to go in. And you may ask that why not other fields? How did you not chose to go for other fields? So I did a basic elimination rule, which you all might have done some at some point in your life when you are attempting some MCQs. So what I did was I tried to analyze each field and try to analyze my own experience into that field, and how much knowledge do I have in that field. Just upper view. Not diving deep into the subject core subjects, but just an overview of all those fields which are there in engineering. So the best one I knew of was for computer science. So that is how I decided to decided to go for engineering. So that was the story behind why I want to why I wanted to go for engineering, right? Hope this helps to the students who are currently in the 10th or ninth grade. Of course, 8th and ninth, you guys have really you guys have time to decide for such things. So do not worry too much about all those things right now, but especially for 10th grade, you might have to take this decision now or after a year. So this might help in some or the other way. Just try to find what interests you. It doesn't need to be a long term goal. That is, you need to decide what career you want to build in right from 10th standard, because it's a really long journey. 2 years of high school and then 4 years of college if you choose to go for engineering, right? So this is a 6 year period. So no one expects a student in 10th grade to decide directly what she wants to do for the next 6 years of his her life, right? So find something interesting and maybe pursue it, dude. It doesn't matter if things don't go well. You can always switch, but just find at least something interesting, right? So this was specifically targeted for ninth and 10th grade students. Right. So coming to my JE experience. So for students who are currently in the 10th grade, we have a national level exam after 12th, which is called a JEE. Right. So everyone has to go through it to get a seat in government colleges, state level colleges, and IITs and ITs. Of course, there are other exams which are held by private universities, but more or less everyone gives JEE, right? So now I live in Bharuch. If you guys know about the city, it's between Vadodara and Surat, small city, right? So I live in Bharuch. So back when I completed 10th and I decided that I want to choose science as my stream for 11th and 12th grade. Right. So then comes the next question, okay, what are the exams? So of course, you know that there is JEE and there are other private exams conducted by, private universities. So now how to prepare for them? Right. So the question was, there are lots of coaching centers, even in my city as well as others. So, but asking to few seniors, consulting some of my faculty at school. So of course there are coaching classes in my city as well, but the thing is, they kind of scam you into believing into something that studying here will get you into IIT and stuff. But at least you should talk to some of the people who at least have gone through those coaching classes, or maybe some other coaching classes, just to get an idea of what is the current scenario and which are good coaching classes. So when I was deciding for a coaching class, some of my seniors, they told me that they used to go to Vadodara, and in Vadodara, there was FITG. If you know about this coaching class, right? So in Vadodara there was FITG. So I inquired about this and found it really good in comparison to in comparison to the coaching classes I had in my city, at least. So consulting with my family, we decided to take FITG as the coaching class. And so the next step was, how do I go to coaching class? Because I was staying in Bharuch, so either I shift to Vadodara or maybe up and down to Vadodara, right? So now there are two kind of courses. If the 11th and 12th grade students would know that there are integrated school programs wherein you choose a dummy school wherein you go to school only once a week, and the rest of the time you go to your coaching classes. And there's this other regular programs wherein you have a separate school which is a regular school, and you go to coaching classes. So deciding for that, one of the factors was that if I wanted to shift to Vadodara, I had to manage everything on my own, right? Right from food to washing clothes and stuff like that, right? So I personally didn't like the idea of managing things on my own, because maybe I thought I wasn't too mature to handle all those things alongside handling my academics as well. So the other idea was to up down to Vadodara, right? So I chose a regular classroom program. So I had my school in Bharuch, regular school, and then 4 days a week I had my classes in Vadodara, right? So I used to up and down by train, है ना? So the thing was, now a couple of issues I faced, while studying or preparing for JEE. First one was, my classes were for 4 hours, right? But traveling from Bharuch to Vadodara and return used to take me another 4 hours. So in total, I used to spend 8 days for a 4 hour coaching class, right? And while I was returning back to home, I was already exhausted. You know, uh, I didn't have the strength to cover those DPPs and stuff. You guys might relate to it. Some of the people who are in 11th or 12th grade right now. So I only had 3 days in my hands. So I used to make the maximum out of it. So what I used to do was, so I think anyone who has joined a coaching class, they might be giving you daily practice problems or some of the other things to solve problems. So what I used to do was, let's say, so I had a class on Monday, let's say, right? So Monday I went to the classes, paid full attention there, right? And then came back home, didn't do much on Monday, but then on Tuesday what I did was revise what I had studied, what I was taught in last class, and then a 30-minute revision of what has already been done. Let's say a month has passed, so in 30 to 45 minutes, if you do this regularly, it won't take you much time, but in 30 to 45 minutes, just revise what has already been done. Keep more time for the concept that was taught in the last class, but then revise the thing that had already been taught in that particular month, or any deadline you want to keep, right? And then in Fiji, we were provided with a lot of materials, on every specific topic. So of course, that is what I used to do. I used to solve questions from them, and for physics, I'm sure you guys might know about H.C. Verma, right? That is I think a good book to follow if you want to practice questions on physics, especially, right? And then for chemistry, I guess I don't remember the book's name, but for inorganic, I would recommend NCRT inorganic, especially because inorganic is basically exceptions and the facts, right? So nothing much about inorganic, but in organic, I remember there was this book from where we used to practice, but I don't exactly remember the name. So of course, organic and physical chemistry might require a lot of practice. When you start solving more and more questions, you'll get the feel of it and you'll get an idea as soon as you see the problem. So that would help you guys if you practice more. And for maths, I guess for maths especially, my free material was enough for me. I didn't specifically practice from any other textbook or so. So that is what I used to do. The strategy I used to follow, and then of course we had a regular test based on the current syllabus we have been taught. So of course I used to give that, and after that specifically, yeah, I remember something my professor said at Professor at Fiji, said in the first interaction itself, that whenever you give a test, at least analyze the test you have given after it is completed, right? Where did you get wrong with the problems? What problems you were unable to solve, right? That is where you get to know which concepts you are weak in and which concepts you are more or less confident about, right? So once you have those list of concepts where you need to put in more time, you'll be better organized in that sense, right? So keep a habit of at least, if there's a 3 hour paper, a 3 hour test, right, at least give at least an hour or so to analyze the paper, right? Maybe there's an entirely new concept you know nothing about. Maybe you already had the concept in mind, but you didn't know how to apply it on that question, right? So you'll get a hang of this once you start doing it, right? So the one thing I would say is, instead of having those quick shots of motivation, try building habits of doing this. So people in their 11th grade right now, this could be a very good chance to build these habits. So once you do this regularly, you won't feel, in the start, it feels very overwhelming. You need to do this, you need to do that, and everyone gives you a lot of suggestions, right? But I feel stick to at least a few of them, which you feel might benefit you or is benefiting you right now as well, right? So at least stick to some of them and follow them religiously. I mean, even in 12th grade. So in 11th grade, if you start, in 12th grade, you won't face any difficulty, doing those, keeping up with these practices, right? So yeah, I mean, there's this thing about papers, and if you haven't joined any coaching classes, I would at least recommend joining any test series of any coaching classes you want, right? uh, it's not necessary that you need to go to a coaching class. If you are capable enough on doing things on your own, well and good, man. So if you haven't joined any, please take a test series. Why should you take a test series, you may ask? Because that would help you in gauging where you stand currently, right? It's a national level exam, so you need to know where you stand currently and what sort of effort you need to put in going forward, right? So at least take that, right? And apart from that, I guess, yeah, that is pretty much it. Practicing for JE, I mean, I know it kind of get frustrating after a while, but then dude, this is it. I mean, there's no other option apart from that, right? I know everyone has their opinion on JE, and once you go to college, of course you will also have an opinion, but trust me, you'll have to go through this process. Even if you're preparing for BITSET, right? I'll come to BITSET in a while, but this thing applies to any national level exam that you want to give in the future, right? So for J, this was it, right? And now, so back when I was preparing for J, we only had one shot at J, right? It was a once a year, once an exam in a year, right? Now I don't know, but I guess 3 to 4 attempts at it. I don't know how the ranks and how the percentile system works, but this is a very good opportunity. You get to know about your standpoint at the national level. Firstly, when I was studying, we used to gauge our results based on what test series we have taken, right? I was giving test of Fiji. So Fiji tests were allowed only for the Fiji students, right? There are other, coaching centers, but those students never gave those tests. So you only had those students who were studying in Fiji. But now you have this option of, getting to know about your results as at a national level. So, you can now break down things, in that sense. Let's say you have the first attempt coming up in, I am not sure about the dates, but let's say the first attempt is coming in February or January. Let's say you are confident on a couple of topics, you're weak about some of the topics. So what you can do is break down topics, the ones you're confident in, practice it, but the ones you're not confident about, take a subset of those topics, prepare them well, and see how you perform in the first attempt, right? You at least have a two to three more attempts to be confident and be practice about those topics. So kind of build some kind of strategy, at least whatever works for you, right? I mean, this worked for me, but it may or may not work for you. but build some kind of strategy and keep on analyzing things, as in when you give test. So that would help you, and you would be knowing about which topics you need to work upon, right? So this was pretty much it about J. But then let's come to BitSat. BitSat is the speed.
Siddharth,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you. Can you please tell more our students about BitSat, what exactly it is? Because I'm sure there are
Right.
students they don't know.
Sure, Suraj. Right. So BitSat is a exam, national level exam conducted by BITS Pilani. So BITS Pilani is a private university, right? So through J, you can get into IITs, NITs, and other, state level colleges. But there are a couple of private universities where they conduct their own exam, right? So BITS Pilani conducts BitSat. So you need to register for it, right? So keep that in mind at least. Right. So talking about BitSat, what BitSat? BitSat is very similar to JEE mains in terms of the level of questions, right? So let's say you're already given JEE mains, you already know where you stand. Of course, the rank list isn't out, but you know how you have performed, right? So the next step could be, if you're not very sure about JEE Advanced, man, double down on BitSat. I'm telling you, BITS Pilani as a college is really good in terms of, peer group, opportunities, faculty, right? I'll tell you about it in a while, but if you feel that you are not very confident about JEE Advanced, preparing for it, and maybe anything, if you have any sort of doubt, please analyze yourself. Do not get influenced by what others are doing or what your friends are doing. It may happen that your friends are not, very much prepared about JEE Advanced and they are directly into BitSat, but maybe you have the confidence of, cracking down JEE Advanced. So if you have that, go for it, man. Prepare well for JEE Advanced. But if you think that maybe BitSat would be a more realistic option for me, then double down on BitSat, right? So for BitSat, at my time at least, there used to be a book by Aryanth, right? Aryanth Prep by BitSat or something like that. I don't remember the actual title, right? But there was this book and it was a very good comprehensive book. It had, questions divided based on topics and then maybe a couple of mock tests which covers the entire syllabus. So of course, here also you get benefited, right? When I hired Join Fitji, so they used to give subscription of I don't know, MyPat or something. So the MyPat test series had a couple of mock tests on BitSat, particularly on BitSat. So those were quite helpful to me because after the test, it was all online. So BitSat is also online only, right? You will have test centers where you are supposed to give tests on computers. Unlike JEE, I don't know how now it is being conducted, but back in my time, JEE was pen and paper, but BitSat was on digital platforms, right? So get a hang of it because solving on pen and paper and compared to giving on digital platforms is kind of different. I'm not sure if the platforms have changed now.
Now it's changed, Siddharth. Now JEE
Okay.
is also online.
Okay, right. That is great. I mean, so now you have a practice, overall practice. No need to prepare on pen and paper. So BitSat was always digital, conducting on digital platforms. So what happens in BitSat is all about speed. How fast can you solve those questions? As I said, the questions is of JEE mains level. Even some of them could be lower than JEE mains. It's a straight. Some of them would be straight facts. Either you know it or you don't, right? So, and there's this thing about BitSat. There are something called as bonus questions, right? So I guess there are 90 questions or 120 questions, right? 120 questions. Please don't quote me on that. I don't remember, but either 90 or 120 questions in the start, 30 questions for each subject, physics, chemistry, and maths. But after those questions, you have something called as bonus questions. So those are bonus marks if you solve them. The paper is out of 450, right? But if you go on to choose bonus questions, whatever you score adds up on that above 450. If you score full 450 on 450, then whatever you score in the bonus question gets added on that. So that is a very good thing about BitSat. So let's say you are giving BitSat, you already went through all of those questions, attempted what you know about, and then went through, attempted, reattempted whatever doubts you had. Now you have time at your hand, but you feel that the questions which were in those 120 or 90 questions, now you more or less have attempted everything you knew about. Go for bonus questions. So think about bonus questions is, once you choose to opt for bonus question, you cannot go back to those original questions, which were the 90 or 120 questions, whatever it is, right? So be prepared for that. Matlab, take this decision only if you're very sure that you do not want to go back to those original set of questions. But I have seen cases wherein if people wouldn't have attempted bonus question, they might have missed the branch that they are in currently, or maybe missed bits altogether, right? So think about this. Firstly, your first target should be make the maximum out of those original set of questions. Only if you're done with the paper and you still have time, go for attempting bonus questions. Right. So this was all about BitSat, and I only referred to this Aryan ka book and MyPad test series. Please take any test series if you get, but please prepare for BitSat by giving as many mock tests as you can, because as I said, it is all about speed, man. If you are thorough with the concepts, there's no requirement of JEE advanced level knowledge. If you're clear with JEE mains, if your concepts are basic concepts are good, and you have covered all the concepts, go for giving as many BitSat mock tests as you can. This will really help you. Please note that. So yeah, BitSat was about this. Now, one more thing I wanted to talk about is the dual degree program at BITS. I'm not sure if you guys know about this, but it's a really good program, and at least one should know about it before you decide to choose for colleges and stuff. So let's say what happens is you really wanted to get into a good tier one college. Let's say this was your aspiration, right? Now maybe for some reason you weren't able to score good in JEE mains. Neither were you able to score good in BitSat. So this is one of the reasons why you might want to choose for dual degree. There are many other reasons why people do it. So I'll tell you about dual degree is what it is. It's a combination of an MSc degree in one of the 5 branches, that is economics, biological sciences, physics, mathematics, and chemistry. Right? You get a MSc degree in that plus a BE in a degree of your choice. I'll explain you the process how it goes. Right? So you enter. So firstly, when you are filling preferences for BitSat, you will be asked to fill your preferences, and there you will be asked what MSc degrees are your preferences are, right? So select whatever you are interested in and talk to as many seniors as you can before filling those preferences for any JEE or BitSat. Anyway, you are filling preferences. Please talk to as many seniors as you can to get an idea of what the branch is. It might happen that whatever you were expecting may not happen once you are into the college, right? So dual degree is a combination of MSc plus a BE degree. So you enter BITS with the MSc degree at your hand, and after first year, based on your CGPA, like all the dual degree students, there are, for every campuses, the rough figure would be around 250 dual degree students enter to BITS every year for every campuses, right? So in that 250 students, what they do is based on everyone's CGPA, right? They sort the list, and again, you are asked for preferences after the first year, wherein you are supposed to fill preferences for your BE degree. You already have the MSc degree in your hand, right? But the BE degree is allotted to you after your first year. So after your first year, based on your CGPA and based on your preferences, the BE degree is allotted, right? So for people who really wanted to pursue some XYZ branch, and for some reason they are not getting that branch at your particular JEE score or at your particular BitSat score, this is another attempt to prepare and get that branch. I'm telling you, this is one of the factors or one of the reasons why you might be interested in taking a dual degree at BITS Pilani. There are other factors like people who are really interested into, pursuing some science courses as well as engineering, something interdisciplinary. Like, so that could be another reason. But if you want to, get into a good top tier college and want some XYZ branch only, right? This might give you another shot at getting a good college and your preferred branch, right? But again, there's a risk involved here, which you need to calculate. You might be getting, a good state level college, any private college in your state, particularly. Now, you might be getting your preferred branch as well, but maybe you wanted a better peer group, a better opportunity, maybe a good top tier college, anything you have in your mind, So then weigh your options accordingly. Will you be able to work hard for next 1 year in order to get your preferred branch at BITS? So I'll give you an overview as well. So let's say I already told you that 250 students. Just a sec, guys. My battery seems to be draining. Yeah, right. So as I already told you that, roughly around 250 to 300 students enter at BITS taking dual degree, right? So after first year, let's say you're targeting for computer science. So there are only 25% seats reserved for people who have taken dual degree, right? So the rough figure could be, 1/4 of, let's say 300, right? So that would be around, I guess, 75 or 80. I don't know. So roughly, this is the seats reserved for a specific branch, and you can go on, allotting those seats. So you need to be in those top 25% after your first year, right? So of course there are, you'll have to put in efforts, but mind you, it won't be as much as you prepare, as much you put in while preparing for J or preparing for any national level exam, right? So the atmosphere would be chill, but you need to put in some effort, some regular efforts. Again, if you follow practices regularly, you can easily get your preferred branch. It's no big deal, but you need to weigh in this risk. You need to keep this thought in mind. If suppose you do not get your preferred branch after first year, will you be comfortable with getting the next preferred choice, right? So keep those things in mind and accordingly decide when you want to go for dual degree at BITS Pilani. Lastly, I only want to talk about the life at BITS Pilani. I mean, firstly, the peer group is really amazing, guys. I'll be honest here. People are doing literally anything, and it doesn't matter what your major is, right? If you come into BITS as a chemical engineer, you might get placed in an IT company or a finance company or a totally non-core job. And please don't get into this pressure of having that thought ki I need to know what branch I want to pursue. I changed my branch after first year, right? And let me tell you this, which kind of offers you this flexibility after your first year. If you want to change your branch and have a good enough CGPA, they'll allow you to change your branch as well. So don't be into that pressure, ki I need to know what branch I want to pursue and what career I want to build in. So don't take too much stress about it. Decide on what you find interesting right now. If even if it may change after a year, you always have opportunities to switch, to explore something else. So that is, you'll very openly see that in BITS Pilani, like people are pursuing something totally different from what they initially wanted to, or what major they got into BITS Pilani, right? So you'll have plenty of opportunities once you join any college, for that matter, not only top tier colleges, but any other colleges you might join after your 12th. But be at least curious enough to explore, right? And find what interests you specifically, right? So that, I guess that would be pretty much it about this session. I'll be happy to take over any questions you
One doubt.
have. Yeah, sure, go ahead, man.
Sir, as I can see, you have taken computer science in bachelor's, and then you have done
Yeah.
masters in that biological.
Right.
So why you changed that field?
Right. So the thing was, I initially entered into BITS taking MSc in chemistry. Right, as I said, the BE branch is allotted to you after first year. So after first year, you can also change your branch, your MSc branch as well. Right. So what happened was, I entered into chemistry. Now again, another lesson I learned after my first year was, I why I chose chemistry in the first place. Right, I thought that I was good at chemistry when I was preparing for J. I'll be honest here, dude. That was the reason I went in for chemistry. But talking to seniors, I had also inquired about biological sciences, right? And everyone told me that it is not necessary that you need to have biology as your course in your plus two. That is in 11th, 12th. Some of you chose science and maths as your option, right? So you didn't take bio, but then you might think ki now you want to study bio, but how would you do that? You haven't taken bio in your plus two, then it would be difficult. But talking to seniors, they made sure that this thing was clarified, and this is the case. I mean, the faculty in biological sciences specifically, they are aware of this fact that 90 to 95% of the students who join BITS and take biological sciences haven't taken biology in their plus two. So the faculty is very, they start from scratch and they're very chill about it. Even if you have some or the other doubt, you can always go to them and talk to them, right? So initially I wasn't very confident, so I put chemistry as a higher preference, and then I got chemistry, right? But after first year, as I said, you have the option of changing your branch. So I had a good enough CGPA, so I again tried to contact seniors who were in their fourth year, fifth year, right? Tried asking them about the opportunities this field offers, MSc chemistry or MSc biological sciences. So what I wanted to, switch to was some field wherein, I can do something interdisciplinary, that is combining my BE branch and my MSc branch and maybe, pursue something. So talking to seniors, a couple of them told me that chemistry, if you go further, go for higher studies or something like that, you'll always have to choose for one or the other branch. Either you completely go for MSc chemistry, or you go for a master's in whatever major you took as your BE, right? And for biological sciences, the seniors really, they give me really good reviews in terms of faculty, in terms of grading, in terms of opportunities as well. So I was very convinced with the fact that biological sciences might be the thing. I might be interested. Of course, you have common courses in your first year only, right? You will have general chemistry, you have general biology in your first year. Everyone has to go through those courses irrespective of your branch. So I had already done general biology, so I had an idea of what it was like. So eventually I decided to switch field and take MSc biological sciences. I hope that answers your question, man.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so hello, I'm Sarthak and I'm currently in 10th. So as
Okay.
you said earlier, I can relate to when you said that you got familiar to computer science in your 10th grade.
Yeah.
So similar thing happened with me in lockdown, and
Okay.
I got quite interested to this field, and I'm currently
Yeah.
learning Python. But
Okay.
the
Great.
the difficulty I'm facing is that
Yeah.
I'm really very dedicated to it. I
Hmm.
like I want to pursue it. It's not something that's boring, but very
Yeah.
interesting for me. But
Yeah.
I'm not able to dedicate myself, like discipline myself into
Yeah.
uh, giving a particular hour to it. Like
Right.
it's like I get motivated for a month, I'm doing it,
Yeah.
and then the motivation
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
disappears, there's a break, and
Yeah.
then so I wanted a solution for that.
Right. I can totally relate to it, man. Even now, man, I'm in my fourth year right now, and this happens quite often, But, I eventually, sometimes this helps, and you'll eventually find that you might not be that interested as you had expected earlier. But if you think you are interested about a thing, what you can do is someone gave me this advice is, if you have 100% of your energy in a day, take out 80% of energy to the thing that your academics or whatever it is that is your first priority, which is, suppose, let's say you are in school, so you have academics there. If you are in college, so again you have those academics there. So take out 80% of energy into that, but putting those last 20% of energy in whatever you find interesting, whatever your hobby is, or if you want to learn Python, right? Just give half an hour to that, and don't count things as in how much did I cover today. Doesn't matter, dude. Like, you have a lot of time at your hand. Even if you put in half an hour for a year, consistently, the effect of compounding kicks in, and by the end of the year you already know much more Python than the rest of your peers, right? So maybe take up this strategy. Maybe, okay, you can also do this, take up a project, because I think whenever you take up a project, the real learning happens during the phase while you are, building up that project and hit a roadblock. So rather than, in very vaguely you are exploring Python, might not help you. But when you take up a project, let's say you want to build a restaurant simulator, which was my project, right? So when you think in terms of building up the project, you go through that thought process, and now you realize things. Now I want to learn this thing, or this project requires this particular thing, so I need to learn about that. Even if I do not learn that, my project won't progress, right? So if that helps you, take up a small mini project, dude. I'm not talking about a very big project, capstone project. Take up a very small project, mini project. Once you build this mini projects, 5 to 6 mini projects, you'll get, I mean, you learn a lot about the language in general. At least you'll learn whatever you require very frequently, right? At least you'll get the backbone of that, any project you want to build next, right? So maybe try any of these approaches that works for you. I hope this
So, I had just one more doubt. Like, I don't
yeah,
have my basics right.
yeah,
Some things like base, just a
yeah,
overview of things. I don't have a lot of practice in it, and not like
yeah,
I can right now go on to building some project.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah,
like, with so
yeah.
less knowledge, do you believe that we could move on to making projects and all those things?
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. One thing that I've realized over the course of my engineering is that you'll never be really, you'll never be 100% prepared to do anything. I also had this thought, man, completely relate that, I do not know much stuff. How would I, build up a project, or how would I do things?
Exactly.
Yeah. So when you start building a project, that is when you realize what you do not know about. See, if I were to ask you now what you do not know about Python, you won't be able to answer much. Maybe you'll remember 2 3 stuff which you read last night or maybe a month ago, right? But when you start building up a project, you will realize that this project requires this particular thing, and I need to learn this. So it doesn't matter, dude. In all honesty, if even if you are a newbie to Python, just start with a simple project. No, start with that pattern wala program. The first program that schools generally give you. Asterisk pattern, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Start with that, man, and then go on building over it. You will eventually realize that it didn't require a lot of efforts, and the thing that you have in mind, that I do not know much about the language, would totally, that is a myth, in my opinion. Just start building a project and you'll realize.
And Sarthak, I would like to add one more point, and that is actually in our platform, we have built a platform using Python language and Django, right? So if you think that you are capable to do an internship, even if you are in class 8, 9, 10, right? It doesn't matter because 1 year ago, there was a student who was in class 10th and he has completed his internship with us for 1 year, right? So we can give you this kind of opportunity if you want.
Okay, sir.
Lovely, man. You already have an opportunity at hand. So this is great. This is great, man.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Do we have any other
Yeah.
Sir,
questions?
one doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir, is it worth to go to other countries such as Canada and Australia than to India for computer science?
Uh, okay, this is a very subjective question in my opinion. So, firstly, the first thing is, if you are financially capable of affording to go to other countries, get an education there, and work a year or two, and then maybe whatever you want to do. So, firstly, if you're financially capable, then only keep this option open. See, I mean to say, there's no hurry in going to foreign countries to just study. You can always go after your undergraduation, to go for masters once you have a little bit of work experience, and now you think you want to go for an MS or an MBA. So if you want to go right after your 12th grade, firstly think about if you are financially capable. Next thing, you'll have to manage things on your own, right? You won't have your parents there, you won't have your friends which are right now you are hanging out with. So of course, you can always build relationships over time, but in the first starting few months you'll have to manage everything on your own. And thirdly, if you are not getting a good college in foreign countries, by good colleges, I mean, if you, let's say, target the top 200 universities based on QS world rankings, right? If you aren't getting one of them, I don't think personally, this is my personal opinion, but I don't think it is worth giving a shot. You can, always do your undergrad here. And for MS, you can, go to one of the top universities, right? So these are the two things you should keep in mind. At least, I mean, three things. First, financial capability. Secondly, managing things on your own. Right from you already heard about people doing part-time jobs, to cover their daily expenses, stuff like that. So that is the thing you should keep in mind. And thirdly, if you're getting a good college, I mean, based on the QS World rankings, right? So keep these three things in mind, and if you have a good option at hand, why not, man? You can always go to foreign countries for education. I hope this answer helps.
Yeah. Do we have any other questions, Siddharth, Aditya? Okay. So Siddharth,
Sir, one more. Sir,
Yeah.
sir, you have done JEE Advance or Mains
both.
after 12?
Okay, I did both. Matlab, you'll have to do both. It's an option, but you can always appear for both of them.
Siddharth, do you
At least if
remember?
you
Do you
qualify
remember your
JEE
rank
means,
or
so you can
something?
appear for JEE.
JEE Mains में qualify बाद में होगा.
I don't know. It's been 3 years, but JEE mains, I don't know, dude. I don't exactly remember, but I did appear for JEE Advance, but that one I couldn't qualify. That is what I know.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Great. So I actually met with Siddharth in a train. I was traveling from Surat to.
Right. I'll share this experience. Oh, I completely forgot, dude. Okay, so why? As I said, I used to travel to Vadodara, up and down 4 days a week. So in one of those train journeys, I actually met Suraj. We I don't know how the conversation happened, but back then I remember Suraj was he was an engineering student, and at the same time he was teaching to students as well. I guess physics, or
Correct.
I'm not sure about the subject, but at that time he was, teaching to students as well. And back then I was preparing for JEE. But then, so this is, I always, follow this. At least, make relations wherever you go. You never know where they might help you, and do not expect them. Do not expect them to help you. Just make relations, man. I and Suraj, I don't know how this conversation happened, but we never expected anything out of this.
Exactly.
But then here we are, right? So, yeah.
Any other question? If there will be any other question, then please let me know, students, and I will definitely forward it to Siddharth, and I will
Yeah.
connect you as well. So Siddharth, thank you so much for joining us, and it is really good session. And the way you have
Thank you.
explained to students about JEE Advanced and this. It's really nice. And I will
Yeah,
also share this whole process, the way you have everything, this recorded session I will share on YouTube, so more and more students will get benefited from this. So yeah,
sure,
that's
man.
it. Siddharth, thank you so much,
Thank you.
and let's
Thanks a
connect.
lot, Suraj. Thanks a lot. And thanks, folks, for asking your doubts as well. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank you,
Siddharth.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
So
you.
we are ending this session. See you tomorrow. Bye.